Hel- Hello and welcome back to another speaker spotlight for Top 50 Voices of Influence, Women in Alignment. Today, I am excited to be here with Laura Peebles, who happened to join this event um, as a gift, let's just say. And I have to start with that because we just had a brief conversation about this before we came on live. And I put the opportunity out there for one woman who was going to be gifted one spot as a speaker in Top 50 Voices of Influence, and the submissions came through. I had already been in communication with Laura. She had already, expressed interest. And with all the submissions, I read through them. That one stood out as the one. And when I went and looked for her, I started laughing, seeing that we had already been in conversation. And what I can say is when it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
It
So,
is.
welcome, Laura.
Thank you, Chris. And what a beautiful introduction. You are so right. I enjoyed connecting with you and I was considering joining. And then I thought, gosh, I've got so much on my plate. I'm not sure I can give the energy that this would need or deserve. And then when I saw that you were doing this giveaway in a sense, for a place in the event, I thought, why don't I just submit and give it over to God and see what happens. And then you made my day when I got that text or, the message that I won. I'm like, oh, I won. Message my husband. I'm like, oh my God. And then, of course, he's thinking, okay, this is a lot of work that we got to start doing right away, but we got it done. And I am just honored and I feel so blessed to be a part of this amazing virtual event with so many powerful women. So I'm so excited if you can't tell. And look, we're matching. Like,
We are.
great minds, on a happy Friday, we're looking colorful as well. So,
Yeah, and I said I feel like you're my neighbor. I think you're the one closest in proximity. Yes, we're a state away from each other, but closest in proximity than all the other speakers. And I always get excited with people that are near me.
yeah, yeah. You're in the Bay Area or in
I'm in
Sacramento.
California, the
You're in
Sacramento area,
California.
and
Yep.
you're just a couple hours away.
I'm in
So
Reno. Yep, by Lake Tahoe. I love it. So, all
I
right,
love
let's have
it.
some fun.
Let's have some fun because the purpose of this event of Top 50 Voices of Influence, Women in Alignment, is really to bring together different, and we have over 30 incredible coaches, healers, experts, leaders in their field who are leading in the areas of health, wealth, love, and personal power. And it really, truly is powerful to have this collective group of speakers coming in what I am calling a mid-year realignment.
Yes.
And it is a perfect timing. I just did a live earlier today, just also so excited about what this event brings to people.
Absolutely.
And Laura, you are going to guide us and bring us your wisdom in the pillar of love. But before we even, go further into that, I would love for you to give us a little bit more of a background, I guess more of a introduction of yourself, of what you do and really what led you to the work that you do today, because there's always something powerful behind those stories.
Absolutely, Chris. And I'd like to reference the pillars that you mentioned because you need to be in alignment with all of those pillars. What brought me into this work, and people started calling me the love coach because I just love, so that's kind of how it stuck is I'm Laura Peoples, the love coach. Um, but what led me into, this work is my own experience, being in the corporate world. And when you looked at those pillars, I had the career, I had the success, so the wealth, I was doing okay there. But the health aspect, I was exhausted. I just kept going and going. I was running on fumes and I was acting like I had it all together. And I was deeply empty and disconnected inside. And I reached a point where I just knew something had to change. I couldn't continue doing this. I remember going in for a physical, and the doctor said if I kept going at the speed that I was going, I was going to have a heart attack. And, that was a hard thing to hear when I'm trying to look like everything's perfect on the outside. And then I'm thinking, I could potentially have a heart attack. That is a frightening thought, you know? And even after that, I still kept going. I ignored it. I just kept going. And then, like I said, one night, I was looking up, I used to love 4th of July as a child. And I was on my balcony and I'm looking up at the fireworks and it just, I, I felt just completely numb and empty inside. And I'm looking up at this going, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? And it really was a huge pivotal time in my life where I had to stop and decide what was truly important to me. And I had to give up the corporate career, even though I love travel and doing the things I did for that company, and go back home to myself and start doing the inner work and um, finding out what really mattered. And it was really a powerful time in my life. And I am so grateful because it gave me a second chance. I feel like we're always in a rebirth stage. I've reinvented myself so many times, I've lost count. But I feel like as long as we're breathing, we're growing. And that's what's so beautiful about this event is we're bringing together so many amazing women from different backgrounds. And like I said, the pillars matter because if you're in alignment with one or two, but the others are out of alignment, it's going
Mhm.
to come back eventually. And we have to work on all of those to make sure that we're um, in sync, I guess, in a way that you're living your best life. So I don't know. That was a long answer. I hope I answered it okay, but uh,
No,
I could talk forever.
it's the perfect answer. Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
thank
It's the perfect answer because I always see that, when people pivot in their lives, I was listening to your story and, somewhat similar to mine, but even though, we're not going into the details of our stories, but I worked in corporate for 20 years.
you. Yeah.
And there was a moment where I developed an autoimmune condition because of living in survival mode for a decade.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I have my own journey, my own story tied to that, right? But that's when I had to get radically responsible and say, what is off here? You know?
Right.
And and it took me years, like 4 years to actually pinpoint what it was because
Yeah.
it's like doctors are saying all labs are fine, perfectly fine. So it's like it was a mission from doctor to doctor, right?
Right.
Then I actually find somebody that tells me, more in the holistic space, honey, you've been living in survival mode.
Yes.
And so by that point, I was already a coach. I already knew the power of, reprogramming your mind, and I'd done it in other areas. So then it
Right.
was time to apply it to myself in the area of health, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like what I love hearing, not just from you, but some of the other speakers that we've been spotlighting, is that overlap. The reason for the pillars is because when one of them is off, it impacts the other. And I want people
Absolutely.
to understand that and really see how that's tied in. We
So
had
true.
a couple of our speakers that are going to talk in the area of wealth, but they both mentioned how it's just correlated with their health.
Absolutely.
And you may be talking about love, but it directly impacts into other areas. And
Absolutely.
everything culminates into your own personal power, which
Right.
is, the fourth day that we are going in this event. On Monday, we talk about health, on Tuesday, wealth, Wednesday, love, Thursday, personal power, and then we close the event with some incredible VIP guests,
Love
with
it.
a live experience, and it's just powerful.
Absolutely. And I agree with you because in the coaching arena, we can see it for others, but sometimes we don't see it for ourselves. And so this is a beautiful time to come back home to yourself and really treat, what resonates for you in all pillars. That's what I'm excited about. Is this is a treat for you, for ourselves, for the viewer and the visitor to come and really enjoy being a part of this collective because you've created such a sacred container with this event.
And I want to say one thing before I ask you another question,
Okay.
because you made me think of it. But what I want to say is we do have these pillars for the week, but the moment that you register, you're going to get access to the alignment audit. And it's an audit that I created specifically for you to see what areas are out of balance. And you can do this in 10 minutes or less and clearly see it. Yes, we can go deeper into it, but in 10
Right.
minutes or less, you're going to be able to see which areas are out of balance and use that as a guide into the week to see what
Oh,
areas
love it.
to truly focus in, right? Of course,
Absolutely.
you will have access to everything, but we're living in a time when people are just busy. Allow yourself, give yourself permission to tune in to what serves you. You don't need
Absolutely.
everything. And
Absolutely.
so I wanted to not start, but I wanted to mention that that is how you get to begin this experience and this journey to make it easy for you to
I
get
love it.
clarity.
Yeah. Well, and I think this conversation is so needed right now because I feel like women are craving for real permission, to come home to themselves. And I think this audit is a great way to get a rigorous, honest, opinion, I guess, on how things are going in your life. Like I said, sometimes you feel like everything's going well, but when you can stop, pause, breathe, and get back into your body, you can realize, uh-oh, yes, I need to look at this or I need to look at that. Or maybe I don't have to go shopping on Amazon every night, when I'm feeling depressed or, want to get a package in the entryway the next day, right? I mean, all of
Yeah.
those instant gratifications that we're living with today. It's so easy to get stuck, or lost in that. And this is really coming back home to ourselves. And that's what I love about this event too.
Well, it's perfect that you said that
Oh,
because that was a question I wanted to come back and ask you, which is what is the definition for you? And maybe not a definition, but how do you explain to someone, to a woman who's just, tired, exhausted, coming back to yourself? Because I love to say that as well, and I have my definition, but I would love to hear you and your way of explaining to someone what that is.
that's a big question. I think it's unique to each person because we all have our own journeys. Um, But what I would say is coming home to yourself is the foundation for everything in your life. Um, and that's what I want to help people. I want to walk women through, that emotional disconnection that they may be feeling, help them fall back deeply in love with themselves. Um, and I know from my own personal journey that it impacts everything in your life,
Hmm.
from your health to your relationships to your success. And most importantly, I think we all want to have an impact. And so when you're in alignment or in home, I don't know. It's really a hard question to answer because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think everybody is coming from a different life experience. Um, but for me, what I would say for myself is I have a daily meditation, I have a daily practice. And that's why I created the 5 Day Love Spark Handbook Challenge, is that is bringing a woman back to themselves on a daily basis, where I give them something, some prompts on a day to do on a daily basis, a heart meditation, looking in the mirror, talking lovingly to yourself. I jokingly say that we look at the mirror how many times a day? but do we really stop
Hmm.
and look at ourselves with love? Or are
Yeah.
we just looking at ourselves going, I need to lose the 5 pounds. Oh, look at that. Look at this. I mean, it sucks,
Yeah.
that we just are living in such a time that there's so much conflict and comparison. And that's what I love about this too, Chris, is women need to lift each other up. The more that we love ourselves and others is how we're going to shift this energy and bring more light into the world. So again, that's a long answer to your question, but I feel like coming home to yourself is just having that sovereignty of
Hmm.
knowing what is your truth, and you live that every day. With purpose, with grace, with kindness, with compassion. Um, that's what coming home to oneself means to me.
I love that. And that's really why I asked because
Ah,
everyone has
yeah,
their own unique experience of what that means to them, and even trying to come back to self can be a journey in its own for many.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think that there's a fear,
Hmm.
there's a fear in the unknown that I think some people just get so stuck in their messiness. And it's that never-ending story or that narrative or whatever it is. But the moment you can break that cycle, it will transform in ways that you can't even imagine. I know from my own experience, and I've seen it with my clients. It's, I mean, they always do the aha moments and things like that, but it's almost like a gentle way of coming home to yourself. And that's why another thing I love doing is the inner child work, because
Mm,
I feel like there's that part of that missing piece. And when you can love that inner child in you and you can become more playful and loving and have fun with that, it's all just coming back home to ourselves. And I think a lot of us we've been disconnected for a long time. I mean, I've had clients that you take them back to that 5-year old and you see everything transformed.
yeah.
I mean, everything from their face to their expression, you can feel it and you can see it when it shifts. Because after
Mhm.
you have that moment and it shifts, you can't forget it. It's,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's something that's just so beautiful. And it's that frequency and that vibration that you just want to expand on, instead
Yeah.
of contract.
Yeah. And when I think of coming home to myself, I also think of letting go and
Yes.
shedding
Oh,
all the identities, all the habits, practices, everything that was instilled in me since the moment I was born that
absolutely.
really don't belong to me, but I adopted them as my identity, as what it was, because that's all I knew. And so
Absolutely.
allowing yourself to let go of what you think about health, what you think about money, what you think about love and relationships, because that's what you saw and that's what you lived and that's what you experienced.
Yes.
And to me, starting to let go, and it's kind of like, digging in, letting go of everything that I now see does not belong to me. That's something that I've been carrying.
Yes.
That just brings me into my personal power of being who I am, who I was born to be, but that I allowed life and conditioning and culture and religion and all these other things
Yes.
shape me. But that's what we know,
Absolutely.
right? That's what we knew,
Absolutely.
and
Oh,
that's what it was.
absolutely. One of the gifts I did for myself is I had a custom handbag made, and it says Laura on it, and it's this beautiful bag. It's in the other room, or I'd share it. But people who know me know what I'm about to talk about. But I had this handbag made, and it says Laura, the Garden of Infinite Possibilities, and that is how I live my life now. It's infinite. I am not putting any ceiling on what I can do because I am my only. I mean, I'm. it's infinite possibilities.
It
And the
is.
moment you can have that magic in your life, it just creates more blessings, and the more you can give, the more you receive, we all know that. But what you said is so powerful, Chris, because for me and for the inner healing that I had to do was really to forgive myself and others and really release the baggage of all of that and all the weight of all of that. And then to just feel light and knowing that you can reinvent yourself every day that you wake up. You can choose. One of my mentors always says to live in 24 hours. When you worry too much about what's happening in the next month or the next year, but if you can make every day with gratitude and do your best. And that means some days don't, get out of bed and watch Netflix or whatever it may be, just to be kind to yourself. Because
Yes.
like you just said, if I have a heart attack or you are dealing with an illness, we can't be our best selves, right?
No.
For us, our family, our community, our company, whatever it may be. So it's just such a powerful time that we're doing this. And I just want to repeat how honored and grateful I am to be a part of this event. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad that you are a part of it, that you said yes. And without you giving everything away, can you give us like a little hint of what our attendees can expect from you during your talk?
Well, I had so much fun. I have to say, I put my heart into it. Um, my talk is called Love Revolution: Healing, Self-Love, and Second Chances. So I'll be sharing a little of my personal journey, and three keys that I feel can completely shift and begin to change your life. So those are three keys that I'll be sharing. Um, Without giving away too much, I do a little meditation. I love doing those. What I hope women will walk away with is a gentle way to face any emptiness that they've been hiding and begin that true healing by going within. Like we said, going back home to yourself.
Hmm.
Um, the liberating power of listening to their heart. I think that is such a big, powerful, expansive practice. Like I said about looking in the mirror every day. How often do we stop and listen to our heart? And I honestly didn't even correlate that I had a doctor tell me I was going to have a heart attack. And then, I mean, that's crazy that now this is a heart practice. So, I mean, I took that
Mm.
literally. I
Hmm.
didn't even match that. Anyway, and lastly, I believe in journal prompts. I think it's important to journal. So I have some simple but profound journal questions that I have in this that will hopefully help women choose themselves, rebuild that self-love, and ignite their own I can't speak. Ignite their own love revolution because that's where we are. We're in that time where we need more of this. And I think that, the more that we do the work, we're inviting others to walk with us and raise us all together. So that's why I'm looking forward to it.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yay.
And just for everyone to know, once you register, you get access, you're going to have a whole schedule of all the different events, and every speaker is going to give you a gift.
I love it.
And it's really intended to support you, to move you forward on, on that pillar for that day. You also have the option to upgrade to a VIP experience, which then gives you lifetime access to all of the segments.
I love
You
that.
know, you get access to all the segments, and it's something that you can always come back to. So if right now, during this time, June 15th through the 19th, you're like, right now, I'm really wanting to focus on wealth, then you do that. But if next month or the month after, you're like, I really want to come back into the area of health, then you have access to that if you upgrade to the VIP experience. But it is all there. We're going to put the link below so you can register. Please give yourself this gift of a
Absolutely.
mid-year realignment. See it for what it is. It is a gift that all these speakers are really giving you, not just in their message, in their wisdom, in their tools, but also in the actual gifts that they're giving you that are truly going to support you and move you through the remainder of 2026.
I love it. I love it. And I'm a VIP girl. I love VIP. I love swag. And Chris, you are putting so much of your heart into this whole event. I just want to thank you again. I know that I'm going to be tuning in for myself. And I love that you can go back. And I know in my own speaking event, I hope people will go back because what I find is in repetition, you will find a different gem each time you watch something. You know how it is. We can
Yeah.
reread a book and read something completely different. So that's what's lovely about this event too, is to really go back and enjoy it with fresh eyes, you know?
And know that what you hear on any given day is exactly what you were meant to hear and
I
receive.
love that. Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, we cannot wait to have you be a part of this event. The link is below. You can connect with Laura. You can connect with me if you have any questions or if you want, just that personal touch. And we're more than happy to, connect you. But otherwise, we cannot wait to see you the week of June 15th and the 19th. Top 50 Voices of Influence, Women in Alignment. Join the experience. Thank you.
Bye. See you then.